Hey there guys, Music Fan here. How are you guys doing? Part 2 of this special Songs of Innocence album review. We're going to go on a track by track review of Songs of Innocence right here. So let's not waste any time. Let's review every single track here. First track, The Miracle of Joy Ramone. Now I have to say, when I first saw this song performed by U2 during the Apple event, their surprise appearance at the Apple conference event, I have to admit that my first time I wasn't really that keen on this track. I kind of thought that this track was kind of a little bit weak. I thought that this didn't have the big, epic, vertigo, beautiful day like quality, that bigness to it. But that I thought it sounded a little bit too alternative or a little bit too rock orientated. But then the more repeated times I've kept hearing this song, then the more it grew on me, and the more I simply adored this song. I really love this song. It has a bit of a glam rock feel to it. Of course, Edge's guitar tone is really big on the glam rock thing here, which is rare because U2 really flirts around with glam rock, and I mean maybe they did a little bit with Achtung Baby, likely Mysterious Ways, but Miracle of Joy Ramone is just a fantastic track. I love this song. I just love it. It's just a fantastic song. Is like, I love the dang 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 dang. Like, it's a super catchy song, possibly the most catchiest in years. And again, this is interesting because this is, even though this song pays tribute and pays respect to the late Joy Ramone, this is not, it's a punk influenced song, but it's not a punk-esque song in the vein of Blitzkrieg Pop or Judy is a Punk or any of those particular tracks. Instead, this is a track that takes its ethos from punk but doesn't necessarily sound punk. It's like a melodic glam rock punk thing, but either way, it's just simply fantastic. It's a just phenomenal track, especially when they opened this song during the Innocence and Experience tour, which ironically I'm still wearing the shirt right here. I haven't it was fantastic live. It was just phenomenal live. I definitely love this track. Miracle of Joy Ramone, possibly one of their best album openers in years, I have to say. Every Breaking Wave, this track has, no pun intended, really been making waves in the adult alternative charts lately, and it really goes without saying that this track is amazing. Like, even more so the single version, where it's basically the Edge accompanying Bono on piano, and just Bono just simply becoming so uberly emotional to the point of tears, and really studio or orchestral version or the acoustic version, this song is just simply fantastic. First time I heard this song, it almost reminded me of With or Without You. Really, this track kind of reminded me of that, the opening chords to that, with Adam Clayton's very steady and yet fluid bass playing here, and Edge having kind of like a bit of a slide guitar thing going a little bit. I did hear this song a little bit when the band performed this song as a different song entirely for the 360 tour around 2010, and I found it very, very jarring to hear this song have a different chorus in this time around when I first heard it, but it works. It definitely works. Every Breaking Wave, either the studio version or even the acoustic version, it's still fantastic. It's fantastic. It's still amazing. California, There Is No End to Love. First time I heard this track, it is just simply, I just kept repeating it over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's just so infectious and so catchy. The opening intro to this has like a lot of these Beach Boys harmonies, and it documents the band's first ever visit to Los Angeles and into California, and it really has this really bright, epic, sunny quality to it, which is really evident in the song. Uh, what else can I say about this track? Edge's guitar solo, stellar, simply stellar. His guitar solo here is just simply awesome, freaking amazing. This whole track really is amazing. This whole track really takes me on a really big epic journey into California. It really takes me to like somewhere ecstatic. That's the one word I can use to describe this song. It's simply ecstatic, and I just phenomenally love this song. Even listening to it to this day, I simply it's one of these tracks along with City of Blinding Lights and Where the Streets of No Name, where it just really takes me out of myself, and it just really makes me embrace everything that is bright and powerful and sunny to this song. Like, it's a fantastic song. I really love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Song for Someone. Still love this track. I remember the first time I heard it, and it was just the way the Edge has that plucky guitar chord as this really soft, delicate guitar intro to this track, which is just really awesome. Like, it was super catchy, and I really love hearing this song live when I first saw U2 at Madison Square Garden in late July, and I really love this song. This song documents the first love, first romance, really, and this is a song between Bono and Ali Hewson, Alison Stewart at the time, and it really documents their first ever relationship together, and this song is really amazing. It's awesome. I can't really use anything worse to describe this track other than it still takes me away to this very day, and it's a really catchy song. Iris, Hold Me Close. This track is significant because all throughout U2's albums and all throughout various songs from U2, we have heard about Bono's mother before. We've heard her, we've had her referenced in songs like Tomorrow, Mofo, what's the other song? Lemon from Zeropa. We've had her referenced before, but never before have we heard an actual song completely dedicated to her, and this track is that song, Iris, Hold Me Close. Of course, with Atomic Bomb, we'd had Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own, the dedication to Bono's father, Bob Hewson. Here is the equivalent, but with Bono's mother. This is very unique because not only is this an entire song dedicated to Bono's mother, is written about Bono's mother, but it also reminds me personally of my own mom, of my own mother, and how fortunate and how blessed I am to have her in my life. Kind of a bit of a deep thing there. It's interesting because they brought in Coldplay's Chris Martin to make these very ghost stories-esque harmonies in the beginning, in the middle, and the outro to this particular track. The other interesting thing about this track is that Bono uses his mother a star that used to be bright in the sky, in the night sky, but is not there anymore, as kind of a metaphor for his sense of loss. There's all sorts of interesting lyrical couplets with this song, if I can try to remember some of them. You took me by the hand. Ironically, it really references I Will Follow, lyrically speaking, ironically enough. It's like the mother takes him by the hand. You took me by the hand. It's kind of a similarity in a way. She buries the boy beneath the sand. Iris tells me the world, it isn't there. Don't fear the world. A lot of great, interesting lyrical ideas in this particular song. Really, the only thing, and I love this song. Don't get me wrong; it's a fantastic song. Again, it references to Iris, but the really one little teeny bitty nitpick I have with this song is in the chorus as the verse glides into the chorus. In comes these woo 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 woos, Iris, the woos in that particular song. I know it may have been Bono's idea to put the woos in that track, but in all honesty, it's a it kind of detracts the song a little bit for me, like the woo woo woos. The first time I heard these, I kind of felt like, oh, why did Bono put those there? I mean, like if you love it, fantastic, great for you. But for me, it kind of reminds me of like This Is Where You Can Reach Me Now, but I'll get to that later. Really, the woos are really the only detracting points for this particular track. It used to kind of really bother me the first time I heard the woos in this particular song. It doesn't as much for me anymore. I can still listen to this track, and even though it gets to the woos, the woo woo woos part, it doesn't bother me as much, but it kind of detracts the song just a little bit, but it's still a little bit apparent. It doesn't detract this song for me to like the song anyway. I still really love this track. It's just that the woos just grates on me just a little bit. I kind of wish the band didn't really put those there, but they're the ones who make the music, not me. So that's the only nitpick I have with this song. Yeah, that's Iris Hold Me Close. I spent like 3 minutes talking about that song. Volcano. This song could have used a lot of that All Because of You guitar tone to it, because this song reminds me of a volcano exploding, a literal volcano exploding. This track really starts off with Adam Clayton making a very thunderous bass sound with his bass, and then coming in with Larry. No, Larry comes in first, then Adam, then The Edge, then Bono, until it suddenly explodes into fantastic awesomeness. This track really reminds me of the war period, except even though this track may not be as visceral as war, or may not be as cathartic as songs like A Song, for instance. Like, this song still is an angry, visceral, fantastic song. It really evokes in me the image of a volcano slowly rising up and exploding through molten lava and molten rocks. Really, this track is just really powerful and just really is just rage incarnate. And even though this may not be the most visceral track in U2's discography, it really is. It probably is their most visceral in a while, I have to say. Volcano, a great song, I have to say. It's a really good U2 song. It was a great U2 song, I have to say. Raised by Wolves, lyrically my favorite song ever from U2. Lyrically, this has such great musical imagery to it. Lyrical imagery to it. This is in reference to I think it's like the Dublin, Ireland bombing of, like, I think it was 1976. I'll add an annotation to the video just for reference. But this really references that particular dark period in Dublin, Ireland's history. It has it that Bono, as a teenager at the time, was going to go by the street of where this horrific terrorist attack took place, but instead of taking that street, he instead took another different street towards his school. And unfortunately, there was victims of this particular terrorist bombing that killed 33 people, and injuring many more as a result. And it was one of the darkest periods of the Troubles around this point in Dublin, Ireland. And Interestingly enough, this track references to a friend of Bono's who in the 1980s started to take heroin as a means to cope with his post-traumatic stress disorder. This is of course the topic for U2's song Bad from the Unforgettable Fire. So that's an interesting trivia thing, that Raised by Wolves is connected to Bad from Unforgettable Fire by the subject of these very same songs. But the really great thing about this track is the lyrical imagery of this track. My body's not a canvas. My body is a toilet wall. Face down on a broken street, there's a man in the pool of misery. I'm in a white van as the Red Sea covers the ground. Blood on the house, blood on the streets. Worst things in the world justified by belief. Can't remember the other thing, but still fantastic imagery, just really chilling emotional imagery in the lyrics here. It's just chilling just to read these. But the chorus is an act of defiance against terrorism. Raised by wolves, we're stronger than fear. If we close our eyes, you'll disappear. It's an anti-terrorist song. It's a song against these particular terrorist groups that think that ideas are better than people, and how this song really acts in defiance against that idea, and that this song not only is musically visceral but is lyrically visceral as well. It's a fantastic U2 song, definitely. I'm kind of getting a little hungry now. I haven't eaten dinner yet. Cedarwood Road, fantastic. Edge's riff on here is just phenomenal. Really, his riff is phenomenal here. Just like din 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 din. Kind of has a bit of a post-punk ethos to it, but still fantastic. And lyrically, it's about friendship. It's about Bono meeting with his friends and kind of forming this union, as a way to cope with the bloodshed, as a way to cope with the horrors of the troubles around this time, the horrors of terrorism. And this track is simply fan-freaking-tastic. It's phenomenal. Sleep Like a Baby Tonight. I think of Kraftwerk when I think of this track. Lyrically, it's possibly U2 at their most darkest. If not their most darkest, then probably their most ominous since their 90s period, I have to say. And the difference that makes this song unique from their tracks from the 90s is that their tracks were dark, but they had a little bit of upbeatness to it. This track is the first time that U2 is not only dark, they're also ominous. It's very mean sounding. The lyrics, of course, speak about a pedophile priest who, instead of confessing his faults to be it God or be it to man or whichever way you view it, instead he keeps these things to himself and instead acts out of a sense of corruption. And this song takes aim at that. This is interesting because it's the most Zooropa-esque song that U2 has produced since either Zooropa or Pop. Really, this song it's a dark, ominous song here, and it's their first one in a while, and it's really unique in that sense. The really awesome thing about this is Edge's guitar solo, really dark and ominous, as if he's playing underneath this cavernous well. And personally, I love the perspective mix by I can't pronounce this person's name. Chad Blake, I think that's his name. Sorry if I butcher it up, but his solo is way longer and way more menacing here than it is on the album version. But it's a track that I still find not amongst my favorites, but it's a track I find interesting. This is Where You Can Reach Me Now. Speaking of which, one thing about Sleep Like a Baby Tonight, Bono has a high falsetto in this track, which is interesting because since Lemon, he hasn't really done much falsettoing, but it's interesting with this track. This is Where You Can Reach Me Now. It's a tribute to Joe Strummer, the late Joe Strummer from The Clash. U2 did attend a concert performance during the 70s from the Clash, and Joe Strummer was such a powerful frontman to the point where it really influenced Bono and the rest of the band to start a band. And again, as I mentioned in my review, it's my least favorite track from them. The positive qualities are, of course, Adam Clayton's bass playing, Larry Mullen Jr.'s drumming, and Edge's guitar tone here. It's pretty cool. But really, it's the whole, I don't know, I get, like, first time I heard this track, I got a lost in the desert wilderness vibe from this particular track. And I don't know, it's something about it that just doesn't do well for me, but it's okay. I still take this track for what it is. It's for what it is. It's not a track that I immediately dislike and say like, "Ugh, get this track away." But it's a track that I don't like that much. I still listen to it and I can still bear through it. You know, it's not a track that I'm repulsed by, but it's a track that I'm kind of like a little bit towards. Still a good song, by the way. And lastly, we get to the Troubles. They guest star Leaky Lee for this particular track, and oh my gosh, kind of getting hungry here. But Leaky Lee guest stars on this track, and she really adds a very haunting vibe to this particular track. It's just really haunting and very austere with this track, and this is some of Edge's best guitar solos here, and some of Bono's most vulnerable and most chilling vocal performances, especially in the middle eight here. I'm naked and I'm not afraid. What's the other parts again? My body's secret and I'm not ashamed. And just the way his voice cracks when he sings that line is just fantastic. Really, The Troubles is really unusual closer to this album. I remember the first time I heard it, I thought, that's it, U2's gonna end on this track. But the more I've heard this, the more I kept hearing this song, then the more I definitely loved it. I really love this closer here, and that's it. That really is it. It's been a track by track review. This is part 2 of my 3-part album special for U2's Songs of Innocence. Leave your comment section down below. What is your favorite song? What's not your favorite song? Tell me. Really tell me. And yeah, this has been part 2. Part 3 is coming up real soon. So take care, guys. I will see you guys on part 3. Later.